I made this dishwashing liquid soap using just few ingredients. Like I spent just 2000 naira to make 5 liters of dishwashing liquid soap, and I'll be showing you how in this video. Now you can see it turned out really beautiful, perfect, and this is very good for souvenir. Now if you want to learn how to make this soap, watch this video to the end. And without wasting much of your time, I'll just get down to business to show you how I made this beautiful soap. Hi friend, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing very well. In this video today, I'll be showing you how to make dishwashing liquid soap using just few common ingredients. Now the first thing to do is to get your measuring scale, and after that, just go on and measure out your ingredients. And the first ingredient I have here is caustic soda, also known as sodium hydroxide. Now for the caustic soda, I'll be using 40 grams to make 5 liters of dishwashing liquid soap. So all I'm just going to do is to measure out the ingredient, and after that I'll go on and dissolve the caustic soda, which is to make our lye solution. Now lye solution is a mixture of water and your caustic soda. And now to make my lye solution, I'll be using 270 ml of water to dissolve my 40 grams of caustic soda. So go on and get your bowl and go ahead and pour the water into your bowl. Now for this water, I'm using chilled water, which is freezed water, and reason is because I'll be making this soap in 1 hour time, and being that if I use room temperature water to dissolve this caustic soda, it's going to take about 2 to 3 hours to cook completely and settle. So I want to fasten the cooling process, so I'll be using cold or chilled water to dissolve the caustic soda. Now this will help this caustic soda to cool faster. So when you use ice water, which is a chilled water, it's going to take about 30 to 40 minutes to cool. Then you can use it for your production. But if you're using normal room temperature water, just dissolve your caustic soda and then leave it for at least 2 to 3 hours to cool and settle until the water is clear, and also until you have a clear translucent lye solution. Then you can use it for your production. So you're going to stir it until it has properly dissolved, until all the caustic soda is dissolved. Then you can leave it to settle and cool completely before using it for your production. If not, your product will come out cloudy. You will not be able to get a clear, transparent liquid soap. So always allow your caustic soda to cool completely, and also allow the water to settle before using it for production. Now for the second ingredient, I'll be using Texapon, also known as SLOES, which means sodium lauryl ether sulfate. Now this is the foaming agent I will use in this production, and it will also serve as a surfactant, and for this reason I'll use 350 grams of Texapon. So I'll just go on and measure the Texapon, and after that I'll move on to the next. And now after measuring the Texapon, here I have exactly 350 grams of Texapon. So I'll set it aside, and then I'll proceed to measure the following ingredients. Now for the next ingredient, you'll be needing citric acid, and I didn't know that the camera was not recording when I measured the citric acid. So for the citric acid, I measured exactly 5 grams of citric acid. 5 grams of citric acid, because I'm making 5 liters of dishwashing liquid soap. So if you're making like 10 liters, you can use 10 grams of citric acid. And if you're making 20 liters, go on and measure 20 grams of citric acid. But for 5 liters, I'll be using 5 grams of citric acid. Now for the next ingredient, you'll be needing sodium chloride, which is our normal table salt, our edible salt. So you can either use the sodium chloride or sodium sulfate. Now for educational purpose, I'll be using sodium chloride, and before the end of this video, I will tell you the reason I used sodium chloride in this production, which is our normal edible salt. Now here are the ingredients we're using. Now it's time for the major production. So go on and get your mixing bowl, get your spatula. You can either get your wooden spatula or you can get your hand mixer. If you don't have hand mixer, you can do this with your wooden spatula or your silicone spatula. So I'll transfer the Texapon into my mixing bowl, and after that I'll move on to the next process. So in case you want to use sodium sulfate, you can also use it, but please watch this video to the end so as to know the reason I'm using sodium chloride. Then that will help you to decide if you're using sodium chloride or sodium sulfate in your production. So you're going to combine the sodium chloride or sodium sulfate into your Texapon and then stir properly to dissolve the Texapon. This is the easiest way to dissolve your Texapon when making liquid soap. You can use your sodium chloride or your sodium sulfate to dissolve your Texapon easily. And after that, you can then go on and start adding your water. Now, like I said earlier, I'll be making 5 liters of dishwashing liquid soap. So you're going to stir this properly, and after that you start adding the water you're using for the production. Please remember to measure the water and keep it very close to you. Now this will help you to monitor the water usage and also to prevent you from adding too much water or using more than you're supposed to. So you're going to add the water, stir properly to combine, and when it is properly mixed, you can then go on and add more water and also mix properly. You're going to mix it properly, and you are going to keep repeating the process until you add the water or the water. So you're going to make sure to stir until there are no lumps, especially when you add the first water. As you can see in the video, I add just a little bit of the water, and I'm going to stir to dissolve all the Texapon to make sure that there are no more lumps in the Texapon or in the soap before adding another water. So when you add, you stir properly to dissolve all the lumps, and then you go on and add the water. So the first measurement of water I have here is 1000 ml. So I just added all the 1000 ml, and then I'll mix it properly. And after mixing properly, I'll go on and get another 1000 ml, which is making it 2000 ml, and 2000 ml is 2 liters of water, while 1000 ml is 1 liter of water. So after adding the second 1 liter, I will stir properly to make sure that it mixes really well and also properly before adding the next water. And as you're stirring this, you will notice, or you will feel the consistency. It will thicken just as you're seeing it in the video. As you're mixing it properly, it will thicken, and when you are sure that you have fully mixed this properly or combined it properly, you can then go on and add the next water. So now I'll go on and add the next 1 liter, making it 3 liters of water now. So here we have 3 liters of water in this solution. So you're going to stir properly to mix it well again before adding another water, just like we did earlier. Now pay attention to the consistency, and another thing is that you should always make sure to use quality ingredients when making your liquid soap. Now remember that most of these ingredients come from different companies, and this can also affect the quality of the product. So always make sure to buy your ingredients from a reliable source. So that's it. Now moving on, it's time to add another water, but this time around I'll be adding just 730 ml of water. 730 ml of water, and that would be 3730 ml altogether. So we've used a total of 3730 ml of water so far. So please take note, Now, after mixing it properly, it's time to add our lye solution, and this lye solution is a mixture of our caustic soda and water. And as you can see, it has properly settled and it has cooled completely, and now it's time to add it into our soap. So you're going to pour it gradually, and as you're doing that, make sure to mix properly. And after adding all the lye solution, make sure to stir for at least 3 to 5 minutes to make sure that everything is fully combined before adding the following ingredients. Now, the reason I added just 730 ml of water instead of 1000 ml of water earlier is because we have already used part of the water to dissolve our caustic soda earlier, which we used 270 ml of water to dissolve our caustic soda. And if you add that 270 ml to this 730 ml, it will give us 1000 ml altogether. Now it's time to add your citric acid, and please, immediately you add the citric acid, make sure to stir properly to dissolve it properly, or you can just dissolve it with water before adding it into your product. So that's it. Now go on and mix properly. Make sure to dissolve everything. Make sure to mix it properly. Mixing is actually very important in liquid soap production. It's one of the most important parts of making soap. Make sure to mix properly. It's very important. So after properly mixing it well, it's time to add foam booster. And for the foam booster, I'll be using Cocoa 10, which is a very good foam booster. It's actually a foreign foam booster and is really very good. Now, reason is because it helps to add extra foaming effect to your soap, and not just that, it also helps to add a surfactant effect, which simply means that it will help to thicken this soap. So now pay attention to the consistency of this soap, and after I add this Cocoa 10, you will also see the change in the consistency, which is why I recommend this Cocoa 10. So it's very important, not just in this particular formula. If you're making any liquid soap, always go for this Cocoa 10. It's a very good foam booster. So now after adding the Cocoa 10, I'll go on and mix properly. So now take a look at the consistency and the change. So you can see it's actually very good for this. Now remember that we're making this soap with just one foaming agent, which is Texapon, and it's very important to add this foam booster to help the foaming effect and also the cleaning effect. So please make sure to get Cocoa 10. Do not use local foam booster. Use Cocoa 10 or Cocoa Amide. It's really very important. But if you choose not to add it, it is up to you. So you can see the reason for adding the foam booster. Number one is to increase the foaming effect, and the number two is to also increase the consistency to thicken the product. Now, after adding the Cocoa 10, you can see the consistency. It actually thickened the soap. And just in case you're unable to get Cocoa 10, please make sure to increase your Texapon to 400 grams. And also make sure to add your local foam booster and also your thickener. You can use nitrosol or Genocell to thicken your soap. So that's it. Now after mixing properly, the next thing you're going to add here is baking soda, which is also very good because it helps to add extra cleaning effect. So it's actually very good, but it's totally optional. You can do without it. It is totally optional. Now remember, what I added is baking soda. It's different from baking powder. Please do not use baking powder. What I used here is baking soda, and baking soda is quite different from baking powder, and it's also not the same as soda ash. This is quite different from soda ash. It is called baking soda. So that's it. Now moving on, after mixing properly, you can see the consistency, and now it's time to add the remaining water. Remember earlier on I told you we are making 5 liters of liquid soap, and now this is the best time to add the remaining water. So now you can see the consistency. So I'll just go on and add the remaining water, but over here I have 900 ml of water instead of 1000 ml. So 100 ml is missing, and I'm going to show you what we're using the remaining 100 ml for. So you see, when you add the water, go on and mix properly. Now, adding this water will not affect the consistency of your soap at all. As you can see in the video, the thickness is still there, and you can see. So that's it. After mixing properly, this is what we have. And at this point, I'll just go on and add perfume. And for the perfume, it's also optional. If you want to make your soap without perfume, it's up to you. So for the perfume, I'll be using lemon fragrance. And in case you're adding any fruity fragrance like lemon, orange, apple, watermelon, any sort of fruity fragrance, please avoid adding it direct into your soap. Don't add it direct. Make sure to add it in a cup, and then can scoop some part of the soap into the cup just as you're seeing it in the video, and then mix it properly before adding it into your soap. If you add the perfume into your soap directly, it will affect the consistency of your soap. Now just look at the one in the cup. You can see the consistency. That is exactly what will happen in your soap if you add it directly. So whenever you're making soap, even if it is not this formula, if you're making any formula, always remember not to add fruity fragrance in your soap directly. You're going to dissolve it separately before adding it into the soap, just as I did here. So please always take note. So add the fragrance, go on and stir properly, mix it properly, and after that it's time to add color, which is also totally optional. You can make your soap without color, so it's up to you, but color is for beauty. Some people also make their liquid soap without adding color, but it's just for beauty. Now it's time to use the remaining 100 ml of water. Remember, the last water I added was 900 ml instead of 1000 ml. So this is what we are going to use the remaining 100 ml for. We are going to use it to dissolve our preservative. And for the preservative, I'll be using methyl paraben. Now for the measurement, I used exactly 5 grams of methyl paraben preservative. If you're using liquid preservative, also use 5 ml of liquid preservative. You can use any good preservative of your choice. Now make sure to dissolve it properly to avoid lumps in your product. So go on and add the preservative and then mix properly. Make sure to properly mix it well, and after that the next thing to do is to add glycerin, which is serving as a humectant. It will help to protect your hand from any chemical reaction. So for the glycerin, you can use 30 ml. You can use from 30 to 40 ml. So when you add the glycerin, go on and give it a very good mix. You need to properly stir it well to mix completely. And after that, the next thing to do is to cover it. You're going to cover it and allow it to settle for at least 24 hours, from 24 hours to 48 hours. And when it has finally settled, it will look exactly like this. Now this is after almost 27 hours. You can see it turned out really beautiful. I love the end result. It turned out beautifully well. I like the consistency, and honestly this is cost effective. This is really cost effective. This is very good and perfect for Souvenir. If you have order for Souvenir, you can use this formula, because with this formula you'll be able to make more profit from it and also save cost, because you'll be using just few ingredients to produce quality product like this. So you can use this for Souvenir. It's very perfect for Souvenir. So you can see the consistency, the color, although I think I added too much color, but it is still beautiful. I love it. I love it. So I'll go on and package it with my packaging bottle, just to show you how beautiful it will look in your bottle. So you can use any good packaging bottle of your choice. It will still turn out beautiful. So this is my packaging bottle. I'll use it to package this. And please take note, this is not the same way I make my own product. This is quite different from my personal product, and it's actually different from what I teach in my training. So this is quite different from what you will learn in my online training. What you're going to learn in my online training is the same thing with what I sell as my product. So you can see it turned out really beautiful. Now I'll get my own product so that we can compare, so that you will see the difference. Even though this turned out really beautiful, we're still gonna compare it. I actually made my own soap today, which is a day after I produced this soap. So I'm going to package it by tomorrow or next, and then we leave these two products for at least 48 hours. Then we can compare it and see the difference. So now you can see it turned out really beautiful. You can see the consistency, the color. This is actually very beautiful, and I love it. I love it. So you can see it turned out really good, and it looks really beautiful as well. So like I said, I'll leave it for 48 hours again, making it 3 days. So I'll show you. And this is after 3 days, and at this point this soap has completely settled. So now it's time to compare these two products. So the first one here is the one we produced. So you can see it's looking very fine, thick, and the color is perfect as well, and also spots the transparent color. So you can see it turned out really good and beautiful. Now take a close look at the transparent color. You can see that this soap is actually not that transparent. It looks a bit cloudy compared to this. Now this is my own product, which is the one I teach in my online training. So you can see this one is actually very fine, perfect. You can see the glossy effect, the transparent color, everything is perfect. Now remember, we use sodium chloride in this production, and earlier I said I'll be giving you reason why I'm using this sodium chloride for educational purpose. So now pay attention. So the one we produced with sodium chloride, you can see that the transparent color was actually not clear enough. Now considering that I used just few ingredients in this product we just made now, the transparent effect should actually pop better than my own product, because I used more ingredients in my own product. Now this is to say that sodium sulfate is actually better when it comes to producing transparent liquid soap. But if you're okay with the transparent color of this one, it's actually very good, because on the other hand, sodium chloride is also good because it serves as a disinfectant, which makes it perfect for dishwashing liquid soap and for hand wash. So it's actually a very good salt to use in liquid soap production. But like I said earlier, if you want your liquid soap to come out clear enough, like what you're seeing in the video, the best salt to go for is sodium sulfate. So that's it. Please, this is not the same way I make my own soap in my training. There are other ingredients I add when making my own soap, so as to boost the cleaning effect and the foaming effect, and that is why the quality of my soap is way better than this one we just produced now. So that's it. So friend, this is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're just joining me for the first time, my name is Gift, and I'm super excited to welcome you to the Gifting family. Thank you so much for joining us. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, and also turn on your notification bell so that you'll be the first to watch my next video. And at the end of this video, do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and leave your comments down below, and don't also forget to share this video with your friends. So friend, I'll see you in my next video, but before then, stay blessed and keep loving one another. Bye friend.